What's up, you guys, and welcome to the channel. My name is Chase, and today we'll be talking about my experience and my look at the 35th anniversary of The Silence of the Lambs, a film directed by Jonathan Demme and written by Ted Talley. And man, this is my first time seeing this movie in theaters. Now, you thought I was about to say this is my first time seeing the movie. No, this is my second time actually seeing it. The first time I seen it was about probably 10 years ago when I was in college. And man, when I first saw that movie back then, I was blown away. Now, I am a horror slash thriller fan when it comes to movies. It's one of my favorite genres when it comes to entertainment. But seeing this movie for the first time back then, I was wowed, and seeing it now in theaters, I was wowed even more. And especially with this being some type of Fathom event where it was only in theaters for like one day, and it's the 35th anniversary, which is crazy to say out loud because that means that the film is older than me, obviously. To see this movie at least in theaters one time in my lifetime, I had to make sure I do it. No matter how tired I was after work, I had to make sure to make time to go see this movie just for Anthony Hopkins' performance as Hannibal Lecter. Oh my gosh. This is one of those portrayals of a character where it just steals the show whenever he has his on-camera presence happening. So man, but if you haven't seen Silence of the Lambs, I'll go ahead and give a quick little summary that I've kind of looked up on Google to give you guys a gist of what it's about. Jodie Foster stars as Clarice Starling, a top student at the FBI's training academy. Jack Crawford, played by Scott Glenn, wants Clarice to interview Dr. Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins, a brilliant psychiatrist who is also a violent psychopath serving life behind bars for various acts of murder and cannibalism. Crawford believes that Lecter may have insight into a case and that Starling, as an attractive young woman, may just be the bait to draw him out. That's what I'm gonna say about the plot for right now. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about spoilers because this movie is 35 years old, so it's inevitable for me to not talk about certain scenes or key moments. And I'm not gonna go into this movie with a full depth review. I'm just gonna give you guys my experience and how I feel about the movie and some of the standout moments in it. But talking about this movie right here, it's obviously an understatement to say that this is one of those classic movies within the genre itself of horror and thriller. No matter where you actually see it, I kind of see it more as a thriller with horror aspects about it. When it comes to this movie right here, oh man, if we divide it up into the three acts, the first act, it kind of sets everything into place as a movie should, but it sets all the characters in place so we kind of get familiar with who we're all playing with. But this is when we actually get things kind of slow rolling, and I kind of realized that this movie is a bit slow watching it because me and my fiance went to go see it, and while we did work, we worked a full shift at work, and she was up already earlier in the day, she fell asleep in this movie. But me, my eyes were glued to that screen because I already knew from the dialogue, the interactions, and some of the scenes later on that happened in the movie, my eyes was glued to that screen. I was fully engaged with this movie, and for about 2 hours and 3 minutes, it had me locked in. I did not want to look anywhere else. I didn't want to miss a single line of dialogue when it came to this movie. Oh, I enjoyed myself with watching this movie. Not to say that this is a perfect film, because I know that this film wouldn't be for everybody, but if you really want a really good thriller, a classic thriller at that, you got to watch The Silence of the Lambs, especially when it comes to the context of what the actual title comes from, the actual look of the poster itself, and the character dynamics within this movie. Because when we get to people like Buffalo Bill, who is just bat-ish crazy, him going insane, and while I feel like we didn't get enough of him in this movie, he still himself is a very menacing force that I never wanted to be in a room by myself with, even though I don't think I would ever want to be in a room by myself with in general from the acts that he was doing in the movie anyways. When we come to characters like him or Hannibal Lecter, like I said, Anthony Hopkins' performance as Hannibal Lecter, oh my gosh, this is such a scene stealer right here, because every time, like I said before earlier, when he's in the shot, when he's in camera, when he's in focus, he's stealing it. He is such a menacing force within this movie, because Anthony Hopkins, when he plays his character of Hannibal Lecter, who is this, and I know that the summary I gave you guys really underplayed who he was, he is that guy, you know, when it comes to his field of expertise, if you get what I'm saying. He is that guy. And one thing I really liked about this movie, because I didn't remember every single bit of the movie, I remember how the movie started and how it ended, but just seeing how they portrayed Hannibal Lecter, and at the beginning of the movie, they kind of play him up to be this really big bad guy, and it's like, yo, we need his help to try and find the help of another killer, but this dude is really bad. He's a sicko. And you know, they talk about it and they tell us about it, but there's one scene in the movie where they actually show us that he's about it, because oh my gosh, when he breaks free out of his cage and he gets his hand on those guards, all mayhem ensues. This is one of my favorite scenes of the movie because he's going through all the cops is in this one building. It got him. It basically looks like it only has him locked up in that whole building itself. They're all looking for him. They're looking at the security guards. They're trying to see if he's in the elevator shaft. They're trying to see if he's like traveling upstairs or downstairs through the elevator. Oh my gosh. And then when it finds out he took one of the security guards' faces off because he skinned it, he put it on top of his face, ducked off in the paramedics because they thought that he was one of the officers that was injured by, Hannibal Lecter, and he comes out of the paramedics alive, well, and just kills the paramedics and everybody in there. Oh my gosh. Masterful execution to show that Hannibal Lecter really is that guy. But the dynamic between him and Jodie Foster's character is what really intrigued me. Some of the dialogue and some of the lines that they went back and forth with, especially with Hannibal Lecter having to help Jodie Foster's character catch Buffalo Bill. She's over here saying like, yo, I really need your help. This is a pressing matter. But Hannibal Lecter's like, all I got is time because I'm locked up in here forever. So you're going to entertain me. So I'm going to give you some things that you might need, but I want you to give me things that I want, AKA entertainment. Tell me about your life. And that's the one thing Jodie Foster was told not to do in this movie, was to tell her life to Hannibal Lecter, because he is a master at psychology, because he was going to be able to twist it around, screw with her head with all these ideas and really pressure her and get into her head. And I know with Jodie Foster's character, Clarice, she's already having these stresses as being a woman within this world, especially with this movie taking place like what, late 80s, early 90s, because this movie came out in 91. As a woman, especially with the field that she was going into, she already wasn't kind of not looked at or like respected in that manner. She was looked down upon. She was looked at as a sexual object to a degree. Everybody wanted to flirt with her. No one really took her seriously like that. She was a woman, so we not really respecting you like that. So I did like the little plight that she kind of had as a character, kind of maneuvering within this field, within the FBI, especially as a student who really wasn't even an official agent at this time, but maneuvering through all these things and basically being used to like sexually lure Hannibal Lecter, because Jack Crawford's character, he was like, we tried everything. Let's take a woman in there. It just makes me laugh just thinking about it. Just some of the storytelling and some of the character development is what I would say, with Jodie Foster's character actually telling Hannibal Lecter about her childhood and her upbringing, and it kind of like seeing like her trauma being expelled and kind of almost being used against her to toy with her emotions. It was a really intriguing dynamic between her and Hannibal, to where it's like Hannibal really respected her. And it's funny because Clarice, Jodie Foster's character, understands that Hannibal respects her to a degree to where it's like, he's not gonna kill me. Even when he got free, I know he's not gonna kill me because I'm not his goal. That would be disrespectful to Hannibal. And I was like, this is like a Batman and Joker dynamic. I love this right here. But just going to this movie, and also one of my other favorite scenes is when Jodie Foster's character Clarice finally catches Buffalo Bill in that house, when it's like a really tense scene where we see the SWAT team and FBI raid hitting the house, ringing the doorbell. We see Buffalo Bill going upstairs because the doorbell's being rung at his house as well. But the subverted expectations of, okay, when someone opens the door and the FBI goes in there, it's an empty house. But really, who was ringing the bell at Buffalo Bill's house was Jodie Foster's character, and she's going in, she's very suspicious of him, she's looking at the surroundings, she's kind of like taking in all the clues, and she finds out that that's him, and she starts shooting, and they just have a little standoff within the house. Oh my gosh, such a great way to end the movie. And the fact that Hannibal is just loose, and he's like, yo, I'm not gonna bother you, but I'm not gonna tell you where I'm at because you might lock me up. Well, not might, you will lock me up. So I do like that. And the fact that he's like, yo, I'm about to have an old friend for dinner. That's crazy. You know how crazy it is? Not for dinner. I'm about to have an old friend for dinner. Oh, what? That's crazy. And it ends up being the actual psychiatrist or the head dean or whatever who actually had Hannibal already locked up in his facility before he got transferred out. So I did like the ending right there as well. But I just wanted to give, a little bit of praise and just talk about the 35th anniversary of Silence of the Lambs and being able to see it in theater, because just having a theater experience of seeing some of these movies that obviously I missed out on because I wasn't even a thought in 1991, to see these movies in theaters, man, it was just such an experience that I really enjoyed myself. But you guys let me know what you think about the Silence of the Lambs down in the comment section down below. Let me know if you read the book, because I know this is based off a book, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna read the book for this, but I might watch the other movies that are sequel to this right here. So I don't know. Let me know if the sequels are worth it too, if you guys have seen the sequels. But let me know what you thought about this down in the comment section down below. Let's say thank you guys for watching. If you are new to the channel, you haven't already, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and like the video and comment your thoughts down below. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. Peace.